make sure you're one of the birds that is chirping, because this playmat is on the way and it's been approved by MetaMats.
What's going on, guys? Pegasus and the Wise guys. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you sub, make sure you hit the bell, guys. I actually kind of like this one, pardon the little timestampy thing at the bottom with my video editor. I'm going through a whole mess that you don't even want to know about. Just trust me on that. But I wanted to talk about these cards just because I've been messing around with the MANNADIUM archetype, and I really like the archetype, and it has a lot of capability to play a lot of different stuff. But I personally feel that these cards are kind of cool, and while they definitely don't handle the droll problem this deck really has a problem with, I definitely feel like they're really cool. So let's talk about it. Dragonic Diagram is the first card I want to talk about, and that's because you can search a card like Lithosagium, and obviously being able to destroy stuff inside of the archetype is real. It's very real. Now obviously you guys have clear and obvious stuff like being able to Vsauce, pop the MANNADIUM, and do the combos that you already know how to do. However, it doesn't matter where they're blown up. Therefore, if they don't matter where they're blown up, can't Diagram blow those up and get their effects to pop off anyways? I don't know, guys. That may be kind of interesting. Lithosagium obviously can mix very well if you're playing the Scare Claws in a higher number, which I actually enjoy because it just makes for more Nat Beast access, which you just can't get enough of. And then obviously, playing this many field spells, you maybe want to consider a card like Set Rotation to mix into that. Now obviously, guys, Calarium is so powerful that you wouldn't want to get it locked out of being able to be played. However, having a card like Diagram is definitely something that I feel like should be considered because, well, let's face it, either dropping the Disaster or the Fathomer into your deck may be something that you just have to try out. With the Diagram being able to blow up some of the other cards, I just think that's absolutely incredible. Now, obviously, when I was messing around with that, I kind of had to look back in the past. You guys who can remember the Metal Foe stuff, the True Draco Metal Foes decks, obviously. And then you obviously had a card like Bayo Baboon, which I also feel like can definitely help the deck out because the only time I feel like I ever lose any game with MANNADIUM is when I basically can't play. And being able to blow this card up with so many cards inside of your archetype, and then go off and be able to kind of reset your hand to fix the bricking that the deck sometimes has, I definitely feel like it's something possible as well. Now, I don't know if it's going to mix that well into the plays. Maybe the level 4 tuner and then 2 of these can make it like a Baron or something like that. There's no MX Saber Invoker play, and there's definitely something that you'd have to mess around with to see how it could mix into the deck. But I, for sure, 100% believe that being able to draw more cards, see more of your deck, and then kind of manipulate your hand the way that you want it to, while you will lose harder to draw, I definitely feel like this is just a strong possibility for you to play. Now, clearly moving on into some of the other cards, Arch Nemesis Ikatos. I think the other Protos got banned, obviously, and it's probably not going to come back anytime soon. And this card is always almost good. And it's the same thing in this specific scenario. I definitely feel like it's really easy to get 3 different types into your graveyard or on your field with this deck because, well, let's face it, you got fairies and you got beasts. And if you're trying out the Diagram stuff, you got Worm. It's going to be really easy to do. Just trust me. Vsauce, it just trust me, there's Warrior, there's all kind of stuff in your graveyard. So being able to have a card like this drop onto the field and be 3,000 and then basically declaring one type of monster on the field, destroying all monsters with that type, and then for the next turn basically locking them from being able to play that type. If they're specifically leaning on something like, let's say Sword Soul, for instance, being able to summon worms, well, you know, that's kind of good. But this card is always almost good. It's just not Protos, and that's what you're going to feel like testing this. I did test it. It did actually pop off once or twice, but it's just kind of win more. But I definitely had to mention that as well. The card that I really wanted to talk about, and I really, it's really both of these cards. Sage the Floor, which got mentioned in one of our videos below our last MANNADIUM deck profile. Shout out to Vincent. He actually had a really interesting take on it, and I actually agree with him that I feel like Nat Beast with a counter trap behind it is just so stupid. Because if they don't Lava Golem you, they're pretty much blown out and they're not going to be able to play. But this card can help you when you're going second, and that's because it's basically another Starfrost and a really easy way to get to a Baron. Because, well, let's face it, if you can count the level of stars, it's 8 stars. Being able to drop a level 8 that can just fly out onto the field, pick off a card on your opponent's side of the field. Most of the time it's been Floodgates in my testing circle. It's been a lot of Floodgates that have just been getting blown out. I really feel like this card might actually be a thing that you want to consider if you're playing the deck, because targeting a card on your side of the field and destroying it, and then popping a card on their side of the field, which most of the time is going to be a floodgate, I'm telling you that ahead of time, or just something that you need to bait out in the gate. Sage the Floor is a real card that I feel like you maybe want to consider siding when you know you're going second and you know you need to get rid of something, because, well, it's just going to be easy to do, because you need stuff to be destroyed and you need to push through your opponent's board. So like if you Dark Ruler them, he's just going to pop off and do whatever he wants to, get to a level 10 and then just go from there. Last card I wanted to talk about, which I've definitely seen in a lot of deck lists, and I'm playing it for sure. I've seen a lot of people play Cerberus to get rid of Baguska. I feel like Scareclaw Tryhard is a very, very strong card to also get rid of Baguska and then leave your opponent under a floodgate type of effect. In case you don't know what the card says, I'll read it really quick. It says, must be link summoned, and all face-up monsters on the field are changed to defense position, unaffected by the activated effects of defense position monsters. So that in itself outs the same Baguska that you're probably playing Nightmare Cerberus over, which Nightmare Cerberus is a powerful card that you have to play in some decks to get rid of a Baguska, but Scareclaw Tryhard in this deck, you're gonna just have 3 monsters quickly, and you're gonna put it out on the field. It's only gonna take 3 effect monsters, and kablamo. You punch through a Baguska, and then you basically can lock your opponent under their own Baguska style of trap, so to speak. Guys, let me know what you think about some of these techs down in the comments. I don't think this one is going to be the most earth-shattering tech video we've ever done, but I definitely feel like these are all really strong capabilities, with Sage the Floor and for sure Scareclaw Tryhard being very, very, very powerful. The other ones, if it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Again, guys, this is just a tech video. Y'all know how we do on tech videos. You got to mention cards that you're coming across and testing, and happy dueling to you. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Pegasus out. Arrivederci. Ciao!